I clicked it 15 seconds early.
Hey, sometimes that's all the difference.
Yeah. It's Monday. It's another Monday. Busy
Welcome
week.
to
Solid week for me last week. Uh,
Sam.
had a bunch of stuff going on. You're kind of freezing up there. I don't know if it's you or me, but
Yeah, that sounds about right. I don't know.
yeah. There and I do have skids. They're in a envelope on my desk for you. Toby, what's going on? Half Hawaiian evening. How's it going, everybody? The therapist's arrived. I hope you're the therapist because I could probably use that.
Yeah.
Oh man, last week was a very very productive week. I got a lot of things done here, except I received my shipment of the rest of my LED lights for the other half of the shop, and UPS was not gentle with 2 boxes of LED fixtures, and they looked like boomerangs. So I sent them back.
So weird.
Yeah, weird, because we
But
had
yeah,
UPS do the same thing with a chassis, turned it into a boomerang. They were probably on the same conveyor belt and just got crunched at the same time, if I had to guess. But
some
yeah,
dudes, some dudes training for his taekwondo. I don't know.
yeah, apparently. So I should have those Wednesday now. So end of the week, I'll be hanging more lights. Um, Also, I pulled the slickest move that I've done in a long time this morning. Um, Anybody who has been a mechanic knows how knows the size of a large Snap-on tap and die set, right? It's about shoulders wide and about uh, 14, 16 inches deep. Big red folding case, yeah. So I was moving all of my special tools from that side of the shop workbenches to this side of the shop workbenches where my motorcycle stuff is. And I had closed up my Snap-on case and I had picked it up by the handle and I set it down on the floor vertically and slid it under the workbench. And when I let go of the handle, I hadn't locked the case closed. And every tap and die ended up on the floor.
Nice.
Super slick. So I had to go through and put every single one of those back in its appropriate location. Thankfully, there's a paper layout card that's all labeled because the case isn't labeled with what it is, but the paper card is. So thankfully, I was able to see where they're supposed to go, but I had to hand put them back. Yeah, like 52 card pickup, but not, yeah, except with taps and dies on the floor underneath the workbench.
I'm assuming that like the crickets learned English swear words.
Probably did, yeah. Oh, not a cricket, but I saw this dude out back. I was out by the crawler course this morning. Where's the picture?
Got your first paying
It's
customer.
it's so it's probably going to be hard to see on the camera, but the scale of this dude,
Oh,
I don't know what it is, but it's large, and it's by the crawler course. So,
hell yeah.
and right after I took the picture, I went to squish him, but he was faster and ran under that piece of wood there. So I left him be. Um, but yeah, that thing
He'll be
rather
back.
large.
He'll be back.
Yeah, he's still there. I promise. Um,
Some say.
I do have fire insurance on this building, so
You think he's gonna reach that next level of intellect to where he can start fires, or
no, I might have to burn the whole place down because of that guy.
fireworks? Yeah, that usually does the
Yeah,
trick.
yeah. Wood's good. Yeah, well, I wish he would go live in the woods, the trees behind the shop, not under my crawler course, because he doesn't seem like something that I really want procreating in, on, or around my crawler course, because I don't feel like dealing with that every time I'm out there. Not
Never,
cool.
never once thought about spiders procreating before until now.
Well, where do you think baby spiders come from, Wesley? When a daddy spider and a mommy spider like each other.
I
And they
know
want no more free time for themselves. They
I know
make baby spiders.
the praying mantis. That story kind of sucks for the dude.
Hey, if my last act on this earth is
Eh,
that, it seems like a pretty good way to go out, if you ask me.
it, it just sucks. It only lasts 30 seconds.
Hey, as long as he got his rocks off before it happened, that's all that matters.
uh, huh.
What'd you do the last week and a half?
Well, man. Well, I kind of had like probably a maybe a record week at work.
Oh,
A lot of hours, but also I misinterpreted a text from one of the groups I ride with, and they had reserved a house in Bentonville for Bike Fest this weekend. And I had misinterpreted that they were out of rooms. So when they reached out again, I was like, I don't think I'm like wanting to like crash on a couch for like 3 or 4 nights, so I'll pass. And they're like, no, you have your own bed. It was your friend that you're like wanting to invite that wouldn't have a bed. And I'm like, oh, so I guess I'm going to that. But, so have it. That same or the weekend leading up to that, I actually blew out this shock. Um, won't hold air. Well, it like I could probably pump it up every ride and roll with it,
that's a
but
that's
you can
annoying.
you can hear it every time it oscillates. You can hear it. So basically, yeah, that shock's done. Needs rebuild. Um, it's pretty much top of the line rock shock, air shock. Um, nobody local has a rebuild kit for it. So I was running
That's
around
cool.
calling every shop, going to shops. No one has the rebuild kit. So anyway, I ended up searching around marketplace. I found a coil, same spec, because all these bikes it has to be a certain length and stroke. So I found a coil. So I bought a whole rear coil shock. So yeah,
So you're going to a spring shock instead of a straight air shock?
yeah. Which my last bike had the coil. I like the like supple feeling of the coil, but being like all aluminum, I was trying to save some weight, which that air shock's super light. But
Yeah.
I think, man, I think what it is, because that's like if you were to buy that shock right now, that's a $600 shock. I think what it
Yeah.
is, I think I'm just overheating those seals. I guess it's kind of common with air shocks for like the type of riding I do. So I don't know. I might rebuild it and sell it, and then use that money and get like a good coil spring because the spring that I found is probably like it'd be like the equivalent of like an RTR shock, like for an RC. It'll get me by. It's not special though.
Yeah.
So
Look at Bear. He's a good boy.
yeah, he's starving for attention now. He's just making a
Yeah,
pass instead of circle around. He's gonna go drink water.
that's fine. I mean, I've seen pictures and videos of Bentonville. It looks pretty freaking sick.
Yeah, I know. I've never been, so this will be my first time. Um,
I mean, I guess they've got like mountain bike stuff right along the side of the road. It's like a
yeah,
mountain bike path down the side of the road.
I'm hoping there's some pretty fun stuff. I assume there's more gnarly stuff than there is around here. But
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. The ride that took
Uh,
out my rear air shock, I dented my front wheel. I'm not easy on stuff. I'll just kind of like
being a little aggressive, huh?
I had I was climbing up this they call it the Hill of Life. People hike it. I don't know why. It's stupid for hiking. But I climbed up it on the bike, past this like touristy looking family. And then when I was coming back down, I like stopped and waited for them to like come by, and I was like, yeah, they're like, oh, you know, like saying hi or whatever, and I'm like, oh, this is the fun part. I get to go down, and then they're like, can we record you? And I'm like, oh, don't wreck.
Yeah, don't die.
But then proceeds to blow out air shock on that, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brett's version of casting couch behind him. And that couch is comfy. I'll tell you what, that couch is so soft and comfy that like I don't know that that'd be a casting couch to be honest with you. You'd probably fall asleep.
If you sit on that couch, you already got the job.
Yeah, pretty much. No, that's where I sit at night after I'm tired of working on whatever I'm working on and watch TV
Oh,
right
okay.
here. This freaking gnat flying around in front of me is gonna drive me batshit bonkers tonight. Get you fucker. Anyway,
Miyagi.
my meditation couch. Yeah, that's my cool off before I throw a wrench couch.
Did you sit there and stare at the wall after your your tap and dice set? Just
I
crashed
did.
out?
I did. I kicked my feet up on the coffee table and took my gloves off. You see, my gloves are still sitting there on top of the moving blanket that's on top of the table still. I took my gloves off and I sat down and I turned on Harley's member video from the weekend, or the STL Sunday video from the weekend, and watched him design or show how to design a tire insert. And then only after I cooled off did I pick up all my taps and dies off the floor.
That sounds.
And then
That sounds
I'm
like
also
a-
trying to build a hitch for the Jeep, because when I did the frame chop rear bumper, you cut the back of the frame off and you cut the rear cross member out of it. And that cross member is where the factory hitch slots over and has 4 bolts to bolt it through the frame. So I don't have a hitch on this anymore, and I want to take the Jeep and the camper down to Badlands for the Ultra 4 race, June 6th weekend, whatever that is, 5th, 6th, 7th, whatever it is. So I need to get a hitch built, so I was working on that a little bit today. I've got the piece of rectangle tube mocked up on the bottom of the chassis, and then I took a picture of it from the side, which I've never used this feature in Fusion before, is when you insert a canvas.
Mhm.
So you can take your picture and you click insert canvas, you upload the picture, and then you can scale the picture. So I took a measurement of the rectangle or square tube that I'm using for the cross member bar, and then I basically just drew a square around the end of that tube, and it scaled the picture automatically to that size. And then I was able to draw the side brackets that'll bolt to the frame, and then there will be 4 other tie-ins from that rectangle tube up to the new cross member, the bumper cross member. So it'll have 2 1/4-inch side plates and then 4 tie-ins across the width of the back. You don't have any ducks in that Jeep, do you? Absolutely not. There are none in there. Nope.
Yeah, I like that canvas tool. I drew like a manifold or exhaust like header flange for a Chevy 3.9 for my coworker that way. On the the bamboo print bed, it fit diagonally, like right in the edge. It was like it couldn't be like a 1/4 inch bigger.
So you just printed one to test fit?
Yeah, I printed one out. Like it was, I don't know, like it was kind of too thick, 1/4 inch, but I was kind of like replicating what if you made headers, what the piece of metal would be. So it was spot
Yeah,
on too. I mean, as long as your scaling is good. The only thing I saw was don't like whatever phone you have, don't use the first lens because it's really fisheye. So
yeah,
your center point will be great, but then as
yeah,
you start to trace your outer sides of the frame, it's elongated.
yeah.
That was my only thing that I learned. So
Yeah, and I made sure when I took the picture that I centered the square tube right dead
yeah.
nuts in the middle of the photo so that it would be as accurate as possible. And realistically, the length of the bracket is only like 6 inches or something like that from where the square tube is to the back of it or to the towards the front of the Jeep. It's only like 6 inches, so realistically, I shouldn't have an issue. And I made the holes slotted on the bracket where it bolts to the
Nice.
frame, so it should be fine. And I left 10 thou around the square tube because I'm going to put the square tube all the way through both side brackets. So
Good man.
instead of just butt welding it to the plate, it'll be through the plate, so you can weld it on both sides, and it'll hang from the plate. So
That'd be
it
nice.
should be plenty strong. Just don't call the DOT on me or something.
I was gonna say, I wonder what the whole because like is that rear bumper you have pretty popular? Because dude, like any of that stuff, man. If I guess you'd have to get it. I wonder what the I wonder what the way around it would be. Because to sell it, you could sell it as a bike rack
A
mount
recovery
or
point,
something.
or
Or yeah,
yeah,
because like I mean
like
they
yeah,
sell
probably a
those.
bike rack hitch or something with no tow rating, no tongue weight rating, just
Yeah,
a
that's
this is where you can put your bike rack. Yeah,
it's on your
but I
own.
still want it. I still want it to be removable because even though it's only going to hang down 4 inches below the bumper and it's going to be tucked all the way up to the back of the bumper, it's still
Mhm.
below the bumper. But like if you look at the departure angle from the bottom of the tire to where that hitch is, I mean, I feel like you're probably almost going to hit the spare tire at the same time as you'll hit the hitch. Like, I don't know. Should be fine. But the
Wouldn't
bumper
wouldn't get too
is
much.
yeah, the bumper is a moto built. So I mean it's a popular frame chop bumper. So I don't know. It's gonna mess up anyone who rear ends you. Man, again though, like they're probably going to hit the spare tire and the rear axle. If the hitch is what messes them up, they've got other problems, my guy. They'll have a 37-inch Mickey Thompson in their windshield. Like, 'cause there's a um, there you can see the rectangle tube on the bottom of it hanging down there. I'll move it back for you since you're
Well, the
slow.
steel bag there.
Yeah, it should be fine. I think. Um, Don't lie, you got ducks. No, there are no ducks in there. If someone ducks my Jeep, it gets tossed immediately. I'm just not that guy. DIY bumper kit. No, DIY hitch kit. I bought the bumper because it came with a new frame cross member that's tucked way up into the bottom of the body, and it ties into the body mounts. And then it comes with pre-formed caps for the back of the chassis because you cut it like vertically down and then like at an angle towards the front of the Jeep, and then vertical down again at the bottom because of the shape of the bumper, so that the bumper slides all the way up against the frame and all the way up against to the back of the body. um, I didn't feel like having to try to draw the caps and all that crap and build the cross member, and for the I think it was like $400 for the complete bumper. You had to weld in the cross member and cut the frame and weld the caps in, but that's not that difficult.
Dude, for the Jeep bumpers, man, that's where That's where you get me every time. I'm like, dude, that stuff's so freaking cheap. Like when we have customers call asking about like a bumper for their like 95 Land Cruiser. I'm like, oh yeah, you're probably gonna be 2,600 out the door for the bumper plus install if you can do it.
Yeah. No, Moto built bumpers are way cheaper than that.
Well, any Jeep, for the most part, to my knowledge, I think Jeep stuff like just so readily available.
Yeah.
And then too, I think you
Let's
get
see.
by because Jeep bumpers don't have to have a like swing arm for a spare tire mount, so that cuts down on some costs.
The swing out spare tire mount bumpers are all fairly expensive because they've got all the brackets and all that crap with them. But the rest of the stuff's cheap. I'm trying to look up the rear bumper now. Yeah, it's $494.
Is that just like raw metal or is that like painted?
It's raw. But my the powder coater that I work with, I recommend a lot of work to him, and he lives on one side of my shop, and his shop's on the other side. So he'll swing by in the morning and pick up stuff for me to powder coat, and then he'll bring it back at the end of the day still warm. I think he charged me $50 to powder coat the rear bumper.
No, it's good.
Yeah,
As long as the prep's good, usually any powder coat's good.
yeah. And I've never had a problem with any of his stuff. He did. I mean, he's done a lot of stuff for me over the years, but on my Jeep alone, the front and rear bumpers and the rocker guards, he did all of them in like a micro texture black. It's been great. Northwest Scale Designs has another business called Northwest Trail Innovations, which has DIY bumper kits for Toyotas and other models. Interesting.
I've been familiar with
Uh,
that. We don't really see that stuff make its way down, at least in Texas. I haven't seen any of those bumpers.
yeah. Versus how much for the popular Poison Bump? Well, Poison Spider went out of business quite a few years ago. Poison Spider got bought up. Um, Poison Spider got bought up by the same company that bought up Hoonigan, which now I'm spacing what company that was that just filed bankruptcy like last year or whatever.
I
But
forgot.
the guy that originally had Poison Spider tried to buy it back, and they wouldn't sell it back to him because they didn't want him to restart the company and be competition for their other companies. So she gone. No more Poison Spider.
I'd make
Chainsaw
Spider
evening. Make something very similar, just with a mildly different name.
poisonous arachnid.
Yeah, Black Widow bumpers.
Venomous or
Venomous arachnid. Yeah, I'm clearly not a Jeep guy. That's okay. Um, yeah, but yeah, Poison Spider. When Poison Spider was popular, those bumpers were 1,500, $2,000. But I mean, even on eBay now, there's DIY bumper kits and stuff for the Jeeps that they come pre-formed but not pre-welded. So like where there's angular features, they're just pre-bent and none of the seams are welded. So you got to weld those, and then you got to weld the brackets to them, and then you got to weld in your D-ring mounts and all that crap. Poison adjacent, yeah. Just call it like Poison Snake or something instead. Rattlesnake Customs or something dumb. Who knows? But yeah, that was all part of that buyout that went belly up.
have you? So sometimes I think I still am subscribed to Hoonigan on YouTube. I feel like I unsubscribed, but anyway, occasionally I'll still see like an upload And I chuckle when it's like a week old and it has like 20,000 views. I'm like, dude, that shit used to like bang. Now it's dead, dude. Same with
Yeah,
Donut.
yeah,
Donut still gets some views, but that stuff is all like it'll be like 2 weeks old and has like maybe 200,000 views.
yeah.
When old Cletus has 200,000 views and his video is 2 hours
In
old.
minutes, a minute or two. Yeah. Harley, Harley and Chad and Hibby were at ECC this past weekend down in Alabama. There could have been others. I'm sorry, spacing off the top of my head, but I just wanted to say, could not be any happier with how the Sever performed this weekend. Truck is more capable than I could drive it. Skids look brand new because they didn't touch anywhere. That's one of the biggest things when we're designing these things is we don't want the skid to touch the ground. Like if the skid touches the ground, it's hung up. So if you can do anything possible to keep the skid off the ground, you're going to be way better off, even at the detriment of some center of gravity, because most of the time you can add weight down low to get your center of gravity back, but still keep your belly height.
So that was like one thing when I was like building mine out. I was trying not to run any weights, any like brass hubs or anything like that. But not hubs, but the thick drum rotors.
Hmm.
Um, but seeing like all the trucks on like the fan page built up, everyone's still running like heavy wheels, so might as well just go with the high belly on the Sever. So that was kind of plus I was like super popular with like C1 Pro. That gave it that
Yeah,
gave it an edge most of the time.
yeah.
So I would kind of decided to
Uh,
go.
I have some Poison Spider hydraulic ram mounts on my Dana 60. Been on there a long time. Yeah, don't get rid of them because you'll never be able to get them again. Same guys who bought Four Wheel Parts was a different company. The same company, yeah, yeah. The same investment group that bought Hoonigan and Four Wheel Parts and Poison Spider and um,
I think Donut
the wheel
too.
the wheel group the wheel group. I think is who it was, but yeah, it was a big group of investors basically. Speaking of ECC, I know you were considering going to Apex. Are you going? Are you going to go to Apex, or are you just going to go to Crawlapalooza, or what are you doing?
If Colin's invite is legit, I'll entertain that. I could go to both.
Aren't they like
I
2 or 3 weeks apart?
Yeah, that's the only crutch, I guess. I do. I'll have to figure out if I'm gonna just go there and kind of be support, or I'm definitely not running my hard body in Apex. That was a horrible mistake,
That's
and
a poor choice.
shame on my team for not telling me what kind of event that was.
Yeah,
It was fun though. Actually, it was kind of fun. I think the judges saw me pull up in a hard body, and they're like, "This is gonna be an interesting show." So,
look at this
um,
guy.
yeah, this guy is uh, gonna surprise us, or is gonna go exactly how I think it's gonna go. Most of the
Yeah,
time, it went exactly how you would think it would. When you enter a hard body in a
I
sportsman,
mean
a
it's
sportsman.
that way at Crawlapalooza too.
It was getting,
I
yeah, it
think
was kind of getting to be that way.
yeah, Crawlapalooza is that way too. So
Apex is a different. Basically, Apex is like the class 3 runs for your class
yeah, I
2.
I was watching watching videos of Apex and the finals courses. I'm like, who who did
I
they think could actually do this? Like, we're not running supers.
think it's
What the hell
Shreve.
are they thinking?
You know the Shreve? Freaking, you know how they
Dude,
are.
Dave and Caleb just
Yeah.
setting hell of courses.
It was fun.
Um, Proline by the Fire, I think, is the same weekend as Crawlapalooza, so that's not going to happen. However, I will be going to the We RC Rock Nationals in Utah in June. I was able to talk my wife out of going to Universal Studios again for family vacation and talked her into going to Zion National Park. So, Jamie and Riley are going to fly from South Bend to Vegas. So, I'm going to leave on like Thursday morning and wander my way out with my camper and get the camper all set up Sunday. I have to be in Sand Hollow by Sunday, so that should be giving me plenty of time to wander my way out there. It's a 24-hour drive, but 4 days I can wander that way in 4 days. So get the camper set up Sunday morning ish. They fly into Vegas. They land at like 10 o'clock Sunday night. So then we'll drive back to the campground, and they'll be there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I take them back to Vegas Thursday night. Then the We Rock Nationals is only like 20 minutes, 30 minutes up the road. So I'll hook the camper up and head up there, and I'll just find some BLM land, pull off, and park the camper and go to that for 2 days. And then I'm going to stop in Moab on my way home just because it's 5 minutes out of the way, right? And hang out in Moab for a day or so, and then wander my way the rest of the way home.
That sounds like quite a fun trip.
You're going to build another buggy? I don't think I have time or money to build another buggy before then. I may try to borrow one of Hibby's buggies. I don't have tickets also, so like I'm going to take my Sever. I've got an S1 and an S2. I ordered a front axle for the S1, and I ordered a pair of axles for the S2 so I can put those back together. So I'll take both of those. I don't know if I really, I'm sure I could drive one of Harley's buggies or Scale Builders Guild Matt's buggy if I needed to or wanted to. I'm sure they'd hand me the controller. So if I could get tickets, we'll see. But that's the plan, is to wander my way to Utah and then pick them up from Vegas, drop them back off in Vegas, and then wander my way back home. But of course, so going to Badlands June 6th, 7th, 8th. I think it's 6, 7, 8. Let's see. 5th, 6th, 7th. Come home on the 8th. And then I would be leaving for Utah on the 12th. So it's like I'd be gone for the weekend at Badlands. I'm back home for 3 days. And then I'm gone for another 10, 11, 12 days, however long it takes to wander there and back. Call me crazy, because this might be a stretch. But I really, 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 really want to take that.
I was just going to ask.
It's not comfortable, right? I drove it to Disney, Oklahoma and back. That's about 12 hours each way. The first 3 hours and the last 2.5 hours were the worst. But also I drove it in one setting, right? So like if I did call it 8 hours a day, 8 to 10 hours a day, I know I can do that because I drove it to Disney 12 hours each way. So a 24-hour drive broke up over 3.5 days.
Yeah.
But it's like pulling the camper like 7 miles to the gallon versus my truck at like 13 miles to the gallon. And my truck's a Laramie Ram, nice comfy leather seats, heated and cooled, all the bullshit, where this is a lifted JK. Like,
yeah. I could see that if you bump down to 35s.
not happening. Not happening. Won't do it. Not happening. I'd put the 40. I put the 40s on it.
6?
It's automatic 5-speed.
Man, I don't know. If that were a JL,
If I take the truck,
I'd say rocket.
if I take the truck, I'll throw the e-bike in the bed. I'll put my trials tires on the e-bike and take that. If I take the Jeep, I can't take the bike unless I build another hitch for the back of the camper.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I want to get this hitch done because I want to pull the trailer to Badlands and see how it does. And if it's fine, that's a 6 hour round trip to Badlands and back. So if it pulls it fine like that, I'll just take the Jeep. Um, if I have to wander at 60 on the way there, then whatever. I don't have to go 80. I can go 60.
Dude, so my two reasons for 35s: better fuel economy, and you're less tempted to do stupid stuff in Moab.
But like, okay, so if I go to Moab, realistically, I'm gonna do fins and thing. I'm gonna do like the level 3, 4 trails. Like, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not going on Metal Masher. I'm not doing the red trails.
Yeah.
Not by myself in a vehicle I have to drive 20 hours home. Like,
Yeah.
not. I'm not that dumb. I'm dumb, but I'm not that dumb.
Yeah. I've
Um,
yeah, I told myself the next time I go to Moab, I'm doing Hell's Gate. I seen I seen like a freaking stock Porsche Cayenne do it
yeah, I
without
mean
getting
it's an easy trail. You have to be smart.
it's a spotter,
Does the
dude.
truck have a canopy or a tonneau cover? It has a soft tonneau cover. I could trailer the Jeep, but then I wouldn't be able to take the camper. The bike won't fit inside the trailer. I haven't tried. The problem is there's no good way to strap it down inside the trailer, and I don't want to be drilling holes in the floor and putting tie down mounts and all kinds of crap in the camper. My wife would shit a brick if I start drilling holes in this camper. Like, yeah. Remember, stupid, you have to drive this home. Yep. Stupid stuff in Moab. I thought Rory was there because of that stuff. Well, yeah. I mean, just call those guys.
On the positive side, it is a Jeep, so
Yeah.
everyone has parts for that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's got chromoly axles front and rear. It's got aftermarket drive shafts front and rear. So I mean,
So what you're saying is your weak points are your differential ring gear.
well, but they're
This is
Rubicon
this
44s. They're not Dana 30s, so they've got
they're
it's
not
got a
five
bigger
twenty
ring and
nines
pinion.
or anything.
It's got 410 gears, but it's got the same
Oh,
size ring and pinion as a Dana 44. So
Easter thing. So that's the thing, like man, well, the Toyota people anyway. They're like, oh, I got 529s. I'm like, dude, your ring gear is small, man. You're gonna break
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Like that 80 series I showed you, the one on 40s. It's got 529s. I'm like, dude, those 40s are gonna shred that ring gear.
I
There ain't
mean,
no
as
way.
long as like this is without going with 1-ton axles, like as long as you
Yeah.
don't bounce it, it's fine. And if I do break it, I have stock front shafts, and I have stock rear shafts, and I have another set of rear chromoly shafts. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't plan on taking any of that stuff with me. I'll take a spare front drive shaft with me because that'll be the first thing that goes because it has a 1310 yeah, it has a
Mhm.
1310 front yoke on it. So
Oh,
if anything were gonna break, it'd be the front U joint at the axle. Like if it bounced and landed on the front with it spinning, it'd break the drive shaft first.
I think I think I think having the drive shafts as like a weak point is so underrated.
Yeah.
Like of all the stuff I want to break, that's literally the easiest thing you can take off a vehicle.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Upgraded roll bars. It has a sport cage in it. It's basically like a bolt-in front half. It uses the factory like B pillar um, hoop, and then it's got forward bars, down bars at the windshield, and big dash plates. And then it's got a like a U-shaped. I'll call it a U-shape, but it's like a. It's got an angle towards the center, straight back, and then angle back towards the B pillar, and then it's got a roof bar at the top of the windshield. You can see the grab handle there. So I mean, it's an upgraded cage, but dude, the chances of me personally by myself 20 hours away from home, putting this in a situation where it's even remotely possible to end up on the roof is zero.
I was
Like,
gonna say I did fins and
not
things
happening.
in a Subaru Outback and the Lexus, so your
Yeah.
truck's too much already.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could do most of that stuff on 33s or 35s with open diffs. Like, I've got
29,
37s and
baby.
lockers. Yeah. Yeah. Suck it up,
Stupid.
Buttercup. I have 25 plus California to Missouri. Yeah, I mean, that's a long drive, but I bet you're not driving a lifted JK pulling a camper. Like,
Dude, I will
anybody who has
say,
owned anybody who has owned a lifted JK, especially an early JK, this is an '08, so it's not even a 18 and a half plus model. So like it's rough. It drives like a lifted Jeep.
it it's funny, man. I got people that still want to blah blah blah. I'm like, I'll tell them all the stuff about mine. They're like, "Oh, you drive one?" I'm like, "I did, dude. I used to. I did for like 10 years." I was like, I have that plush Lexus over here now because I got smart.
Yeah.
I don't want
Lifted
to ride
TJ,
somewhere and be like, I'm here.
you're driving a lifted TJ on 35s from Missouri to California. That's just as manly. Like, that's just as manly. So you know exactly what I'm talking about because like my options are my Laramie Ram, right? Fully loaded, nice comfy truck, great
The wife
radio.
would appreciate that one.
Well, they're flying, so they don't care. Like, so my options are Laramie Ram, lifted Jeep. Like
The
the
Jeep
Jeep
would
would
be
be way more
fun.
fun. It's more of an adventure. Like I talked her into this whole thing because it's like I don't want to go back to freaking Universal Studios. We did Disney, Universal, Disney, and then she wanted to go back to Universal. I'm like, we're not doing 4 family vacations in a row going to these stupid ass amusement parks that cost just retarded money. Like,
Dude, so me and my buddy Chris is also from South Bend. We talk about this constantly because I'm trying to plan a trip in um mid September with dudes I went to high school with. I'm like 2 years ago, they're like, man, you you posted up that trip to Colorado. That looks so cool. I was like, fly in the Durango, and I'll pick you guys up. We'll make this happen. And they're all about it. But now since we're coming down to like the wire, kind of, all these excuses are coming out. I can't. I don't know if I can. And they're like one of them's down. They're like, dude, I just checked it. South Bend to Durango, which South Bend's a small puddle jumper plane. Durango's a small puddle jumper plane too. Round trip, $280. I was like, that's free.
dude,
Because they
South
were
Bend.
talking,
Go ahead.
oh, they were talking about flying into Denver, and I was like, it's a 7 or 8 hour drive from Denver to Durango. I'm like, spend the money and just
Yeah,
fly into Durango. Anyway,
yeah.
I
So
don't know.
South Bend to Vegas round trip's like $97.
Because they want you to.
Yeah, Allegiant South Bend to Vegas round trip is under $100,
Dude, that's free.
and it's a
That's
direct
free.
flight in a big plane. It's not a puddle jumper plane. It's a big plane.
Your freaking Uber to South Bend is gonna be half that cost.
Dude, the airport's 15 minutes from my house. Like
Yeah,
I'm
that's
so
nice.
that's the reason they're flying is because it's so cheap to fly to Vegas and I don't have to spend 24 to 36 hours in the car with my wife and 9-year-old son. Like
Yeah.
especially if I take the Jeep.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, I guess where I was getting at with that story was, dude, everyone from Indiana just goes to Florida as their yearly vacation. And I'm like,
Hmm.
you, you people need to see the damn world,
Yeah, you
please. For
need
the
to
love
see
of
more.
God.
Yeah, yeah.
Go do something, man.
We ain't getting any younger. I appreciate my heated leather auto trans versus my '85 Corolla with a stage 2 clutch and manual trans in traffic. Like, I use my heated seat because my back hurts, not because I'm cold. Like,
Dude, I've used the heated seat just to like. I'm like, oh, I feel like it helps me stay awake too.
yeah.
Weird. I don't
I
know.
have I have I have cooled seats or vented seats in my truck too, so I oscillate between heated and cooled.
Ah.
Riding a wide glide from Minneapolis to Seattle this summer.
What the hell is a
Yikes!
wide line?
It's like a Dyna. It's like a street bob or a street. It's not the
I
big
think
touring bikes. It's a stripped down.
I think my buddy has one actually. It has like a front
Yeah.
fairing, that like a is it a wide headlight?
I'm not sure on the wide glide, but
Huh. I'm about
per-
to
person personally, I'd pick the Ram. I mean, it's the smart choice, but it's not the adventurous choice. And like,
just
I
get
don't
some EV bumpers, dude.
like. I'm not gonna be like Utah. Isn't a trip that I can do like frequently. So like, if I'm going, I want to try to get the most out of it. So I feel like I'm gonna really regret not having my Jeep in Utah. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the e-bike could be great. Like I know that I could take the bike and I can have fun with the bike, but like I just feel like I'm gonna miss the Jeep if I take the truck. My buddy was from Durango. It's very south of Denver. It is
Yeah.
from
Um,
Indiana. Never been to Florida.
if I if I had to say, grab AAA, dude. Just take the Jeep.
Yeah, I have AAA. No
Oh,
fairing, wide forks, no
oh
soft
yeah.
tail. There you go. More like a bobber. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I
That's what I
just
thought it was.
I just googled it. I don't know what my buddy has. It's sick. It's a sick bike. It's newer though. It's a it's
Cody says I'd send it with the Jeep. Moab's cool to look at, but way better when you're on the scenery. I
yeah.
like I said, I'm gonna get this hitch built. I'm gonna hook the camper to it. I'm gonna pull it to Badlands in 2 weeks and decide at that point whether I have the cojones to go all the way to Utah. I mean, the camper mathematically, like the camper weighs less than the towing capacity of the Jeep,
Sorry.
but
Talk about
also
man.
the towing capacity of the Jeep isn't with 37s, right? So it's all about the journey, and that's more it than anything. And that's what
I
I
love
that's
that
what I was
saying.
convincing the wife.
I love that saying until I'm doing an alternator and shit in a AutoZone parking lot in some bumfuck town in,
Hey,
in
it's
Alabama.
side quests. Side quest. Every trip has to have a side quest, whether it's a
or
blown tire or a completely lost wheel tire and hub assembly on the stacker. Like,
or you I love that story until you're pulling your drive shaft in a Portillo's parking lot and hacking your four-wheel drive system so your four-wheel drive locks up in high range. Oh, I love
yep,
that. Such a great story.
yeah,
It's all about the
dude.
story.
Yeah, like when we were going to Hammers last time and we got out to switch drivers past Albuquerque, and I went to the back of the trailer to take a leak on the side of the highway, and I looked at the bottom of the stacker, and I'm like, something's missing here. It's a triaxle trailer, and there's only two wheels and tires here. So I jumped back in the camper. I'm like, hey, we got a problem. Like, what? We got a flat tire? I'm like, I don't know if it's flat. It's not there. The whole thing's gone.
Um,
The hub, the drum, the wheel, the tire, all gone. Not a single mark on the side of the trailer. The fender was perfect. That thing just left the chat, and it's in a farmer's cow field somewhere around Albuquerque, somewhere within 2 hours east of Albuquerque and 30 minutes west of Albuquerque. It's somewhere in there because that's when we stopped. But
Huh.
She gone.
Actually, I have to chill out on the talk because I'm literally driving 16 hours this weekend, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna have
yeah,
something blow out, dude. You already know.
yeah. Choose your own adventure books, but in real life. Hope no one behind you didn't end up with it in their grill. I mean, we
Someone else got
backtracked back to
adventure too.
Albuquerque. Yeah, somebody else got a side quest out of it.
Side quest. The side quest
I
to
mean,
the body shop.
yeah. Hey, I mean, side quests are part of it. You gotta embrace the suck sometimes. And I've got a
Um,
spare tire on the back of the Jeep. There's a spare tire on the back of the camper. I've got the tools to change both. Worst case scenario, I spend an extra night somewhere. Like I said, that's why I'm leaving. That's why I'd be leaving 4 days before I have to be there, right? Because in theory, I could drive, you know, 16, 18 hours one day, sleep, and then be there by noon the next day. But that's not what I want to do. I want to wander there and wander back. Except the wander there includes Iowa and Kansas and Nebraska. Like,
no, man. See,
until
that's
from here to Denver is the most boring ass.
dude.
Like, I feel like the first day I'm gonna make it a goal to get almost to Denver, like
Yeah.
really hit the road. Let's see how long of a drive it is from here to Denver.
So like that's almost my reason. Like, so the
It's
drive out
fit.
of Texas sucks too, but that's also 7 or so hours. But man, that
It's 15
Midwest
and a half.
to Denver,
Yeah,
dang, that's like double the suck. That
yeah,
sucks. Actually,
yeah.
actually, you know what? That's not bad in that Jeep though, because all right, here's where all of our customers shoot themselves in the foot. They'll do some summer trip where they're driving West Texas for 8 hours and the highway speeds are 85 and they're trying to do it in a 95 Toyota that was meant to do 60 miles an hour. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's where everyone's like, "Oh, I'm overheating." Uh, here comes the phone calls because they basically roasted that motor. So at least you
Yeah.
have like it might be humid, but I don't think the temps are freaking 100
It's
plus.
it's mid June, so it should be like 70s, 80s. It shouldn't be that bad.
Not bad.
Um, Fresh belts and hoses before you leave. So that's with the on the Jeep. I've got a new radiator, new upper and lower radiator hoses, new water pump, new belt, and a new tensioner. Like 4,000 miles ago, 3,000 miles ago. So like that stuff should be fine. I'll just change the engine oil and check the trans. And if I take the truck, I need to put a new idler pulley on. It's chirping a little bit. I sprayed the bearing with some WD-40 the other day and it shut up. So I know it's the idler.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even that, another good thing is it's domestic. So, like, parts are pretty easy to come by.
Yeah. Well, and the whole thing with this drive is I'm pulling a camper. So like if I get tired, you just pull off in a truck stop and climb in the camper and crash. Like it's really not that big a deal.
Yeah.
The
I think the
drive is
Jeep
the
would be
worst.
worth it.
Fields and windmills. I think it will be too. I just don't want to get into the fucking bumfuck Kansas and burn up the trans or something. You know what I mean? So I do have a trans cooler on it and the trail dash. I can monitor trans temps, so like I can monitor all that stuff and get a pretty decent idea of what the fuck's going on before I really tear something up. But
Yeah.
like that'd be the worst. Knock the transfer case out of it or something coming out of Denver in the mountains.
Well,
Uh,
in a Jeep, I'm sure the local marketplace will have the transfer case for you.
yeah, somebody's got a Rubicon transfer case kicking around, and it doesn't even have to be a Rubicon transfer case. It could be a regular JK transfer case, just the
Freaking
gearing's different.
get me home.
Yeah, the only feature of the Tesla self-driving that you'd love to turn on and check out while it drives the boring part. Exactly.
Dude, my ex's Subaru had that feature. So when I drove to Nationals, I drove her that Subaru.
Yep.
Dude,
Yep.
that I thought that stuff was the most gimmicky. Ugh, lame. Who'd ever want this? Dude, that was nice sometimes.
It is. It is.
Because it would auto
Uh,
slow down and then not like auto re-follow the car in front of you at
I
a light.
I feel like that would annoy me. Like the adaptive cruise, I feel like that would annoy
Nope.
me.
It was totally cool. You could bump it
Hmm.
closer, bump it further away. Nope, it was great. The
Have you
only
had?
spot that was boring was like a long curve. It like a controller in a like video racing game where like over
Mm,
over over over. That's kind of how this was. It's almost like you were in the car and someone else is like
it would just bump bump bump.
joystick turning you. But
Yeah.
that was 2017 Subaru,
Yeah.
adapted.
I'm
So
sure it's gotten better.
yeah,
Have you had to change the oil cooler? That is a 3.6 liter issue in the newer Jeeps. Mine's a 3.8, so I don't have that. I don't have that same setup. So nope, haven't had to do that. Jeep fucked up big time by doing that plastic oil cooler under the intake. Bad
ew.
news bears. It
Is
sits
that
in the
how it
valley
is?
underneath. Hmm? Sits in the valley under the intake, and it's plastic, and it cracks, and then it fills the valley with oil, and then it'll
Huh.
leak out the backside of the intake and leak down the back of the engine. And
So basically,
typically, like you'll see a couple spots of oil in your driveway, and you're like, ah, fuck, I got an oil leak. And then like a week later, it blows up because it's out of oil because the whole valley's full of oil.
yeah, before you know it, 2.5 quarts of oil is out of the engine, but not easily
Not out
identified
of
as
the
a
engine.
leak.
Yes, yes, yeah. By the time you have two drips on the driveway, you're 2.5 quarts low on oil. Not to mention all the oil that you lost while you were driving and didn't realize it.
Yeah, yeah.
Wife just got a new Rogue with that feature. Has cruise control adaptive feature. Yeah, my wife's Grand Cherokee has it too. And immediately I turn the adaptive cruise off and I turn the auto start stop off every time I get in it. I just hit the two buttons. That auto start stop thing is the dumbest shit engineers ever came up with.
Dude, the I was leaving the mountain bike park, and there was a Jeep with two cops around it at the light, like leaving that park. And I was like, because it's a T, so I was like, he was waving me around. I'm like, what happened to this? It was a JL. I was like, what happened to that? And he's like, the start stop rammed the freaking starter into the flywheel. It's
Yeah,
seized. I was like, what? I was like,
yeah.
disable that. Jesus, man, that's
The thing that I figured out on my wife's Grand Cherokee with the auto start stop is it's brake pressure sensitive. So like when you come to a stop, if you just barely have your foot on the brake enough to keep the vehicle from rolling, it won't auto shut off. If you push on the brake pedal, it'll shut off. But the brake lights are still on regardless. As soon as you touch the brake pedal, the brake lights are on. So it's not like you're letting off. It's not the same switch that activates the brake lights. It's another like a pressure sensitive thing. Must be in the ABS module or something. But yeah, if you're just barely touching the pedal, it won't do it. But I just turn it off because it annoys me.
yeah.
Yeah, hers has that auto shut off. That's good to know. Might have to look at turning that off. Yeah, and so like Taser, the company Taser makes modules for most Mopar stuff,
Taser
and you
face.
can disable you can disable all that crap, like permanently disable it. Because hers, you have to hit the button every time you start the car. It automatically turns back on, so you have to hit the button every time. It's annoying. Well, we've run an hour, talked about some things and some stuff.
Just utter
Um,
nonsense. Thanks for hanging around,
mostly,
buddy.
mostly nonsense.
Talking
Um,
to the Jeep. I'm voting Jeep, man. Do it.
yeah,
Replace the
I
plastic pulleys, belt, or leave the
I'm
belt, I
leaning
guess.
I'm
That's all.
leaning that way, but Badlands trip will determine.
Yeah.
So anyway, next Monday should be good. Should be good for the next 2 Mondays. Shouldn't have anything on the schedule, so should be good to go for both of those. And then after that, it'll be touch and go. I'm gonna take my Starlink with me, so maybe I'll, depending on where I'm at, I may still be in Moab, but I doubt it. That Monday of the event. So I don't know. We'll see.
Colin, you
Colin,
hello and
what I
goodbye.
miss? Yeah, what I miss? The entire show, Colin. Good night. So
If you
anyway,
had stop right now, that'd be gangster.
just click it. What I miss? Nothing.
Oh shoot.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm gonna get out of here for the night and get back to the house. So catch you guys on the next one.
Yeah. Later. I'll
Later.
text you, Colin. Peace.